Thanks, Keith. There is that alternate view, of course, that the president handed the Democrats a box of perfectly formed rocks to throw at him and at John McCain. Our very own Rachel Maddow joins me now. Good evening, Rachel.
Hi, Keith.
All right, the list of the Democrats who were quick to pounce on this today included, but was not limited to, Mr. Obama, Senator Clinton, Mr. Emanuel, Howard Dean, Joe Biden, John Kerry, Henry Waxman, Nancy Pelosi. Woodrow Wilson spoke up, which was a big surprise. Is it safe to say that they might have been excited at the opportunity presented to them by this because it is now in the general election Obama versus Bush?
Yeah, not only Obama versus Bush, but Obama versus Bush on foreign policy in the Middle East. I mean, this is like Eid, Purim, and Christmas all rolled into one if you're the Barack Obama campaign. Literally, the issue is the safety of Israel and the stability of the Middle East. And the guy who you are arguing with is the guy whose big foreign policy idea was to remove Iran's secular Sunni neighbor rival to make Iran more powerful and stronger in the Middle East than they could have ever dreamed of being before George W. Bush scrabbled his way to the presidential podium. This is exactly the fight that you want with exactly the guy you want to be fighting it out with. This was a big boon for Obama today.
Is there anything in that list or anything in any list anywhere that the Obama campaign would not welcome as a direct argument, as long as George Bush presents himself in the middle of the... I mean, could they be talking, I don't know, the value of a Yale education, and they'd be happy to argue it as long as they're arguing and Bush is inserting himself in the 2008 campaign?
I mean, any substantive issue on which anybody seriously thinks this election is going to unfold would be it would be great for Obama to be fighting those issues with George Bush, whether it's the economy or the environment or foreign policy in the Middle East. I think the one thing where Obama would lose an argument with George W. Bush is on hawkishness, is on enthusiasm for and excitement about starting the next war. John McCain is campaigning as somebody who is enthusiastically looking forward to continuing the Iraq war, to continuing the Afghanistan war, to maybe starting a third war with Iran. And I think that the justification there, the thinking there, the political analysis behind that is that the American people, when asked to choose between war and peace, will choose war, that they would choose the hawkish candidate, that they would choose the person who's eager for the next confrontation. I think maybe sometimes that's true. I think that sometimes that does happen in the American polity. I think right now, when we've got two simultaneous wars without end and nobody knows what the mission is for either of them, I think the American public is not in that place.
All right, well, to the point of McCain, and as Dana just pointed out, Senator McCain would presumably have been unhappy that he was big-footed here by President Bush on this of all topics. Then why, sort of throw your chips in with him, calling Obama an appeaser and now eliminating any chance that this is not about Obama by throwing in Neville freaking Chamberlain? McCain might have been better served by saying, I don't know who George Bush is, wouldn't he?
Well, I think, though, that the Republicans surprise us over and over again by the degree to which they do not distance themselves from George W. Bush. It's kind of the constant political common wisdom, and it has been since George Bush's approval ratings went south a very long time ago, that in order for other Republicans to succeed, they really need to divorce themselves from George W. Bush and run as an anti-George Bush Republican. We haven't seen any successful Republican effort to do that. Everybody keeps saying they will start doing that, but we're only seeing John McCain do that on things that are essentially style points, saying that I promise I'll have lots of press conferences, I promise I will admit my mistakes, I promise you can buy eco-friendly T-shirts from my website. I mean, it's style points, but they stick close together on the big issues. None of them have yet thrown Bush under the bus.
We're going to go through his laundry list of my wish list for 2010 in a moment, but our last question, and briefly, is this because... Did the Republicans wig out this week because of that special election in Mississippi, where it turned out that Jeremiah Wright is apparently not going to be usable against Obama, and they're looking for literally anything in this case being, well, we'll even turn to George Bush?
They do seem like they don't know which way to turn. The fact that they are using such vituperative language about their own chances, about the health of their own party, it's so vituperative that I feel uncomfortable quoting it on my radio show. That's a sign that they're in pretty dire straits, even in their own assessment.
All right, well, we'll know the real answer if Sean Hannity starts talking about Obama and Israel and terrorism instead of Wright. Rachel Maddow of MSNBC and her own show, of course, on Air America. Thank you, Rachel.